We're diving deep into a topic today that really hits home for a lot of people, loneliness, especially for our elders. It's a big challenge, but maybe technology can play a part in helping, and that's what we are looking at. Can AI really help?
That is the big question, isn't it? And it's one that researchers are really digging into all over the world. What's so interesting to me is that loneliness, it's not just a feeling, it really impacts our health and well-being. Like you can measure it.
Yeah, we hear those stats all the time, right? Loneliness is as bad for you as smoking. But I think what really got me was that it can actually increase your risk of dying early. That's really powerful. It shows just how deeply loneliness affects us.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, seniors face some specific challenges that make them more vulnerable, like losing loved ones, having physical limitations, or maybe they're retired and not interacting as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's like all these factors combine to create the perfect environment for loneliness to take hold, isn't it? And then the traditional ways we try to combat loneliness, things like family support or being involved in the community, those are sometimes harder to come by these days. So I guess the question is, where does AI fit into all of this?
Well, think about this. Having AI as a companion, it might seem like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but in reality, it's becoming more and more common. We're seeing a lot of apps and devices powered by AI that are made to be companions. They offer conversation and even emotional support.
Okay, so paint me a picture here. What exactly does an AI companion look like? And how does it actually work?
It can take a bunch of different forms. Like there's this app called Replika where you basically create your own digital AI friend. You can chat with this friend whenever you want. And the cool thing is that these apps use really sophisticated natural language processing so they can hold conversations that sound a lot like a conversation with a real person.
So it's kind of like having a texting buddy who's always around and never gets tired of talking to you. But can AI really grasp all the subtle things we do in human conversation?
That's the mind-blowing part. The technology behind these AI companions is changing so fast. It's not just about picking up keywords anymore. Now it's all about understanding the context of what's being said, recognizing the emotions behind the words, and even adapting to your personality and the things you like.
Wow, that's way more advanced than I ever imagined. So it's not just about filling the silence, right? It's about making you feel like you're actually connecting with someone.
That's it. And that feeling of connection can be incredibly powerful for someone who feels isolated and alone.
But is there any proof that these AI companions really work? Have there been any studies to show that they can actually help with loneliness?
There are actually some really interesting studies coming out that suggest AI companions can have a real impact. For example, one study looked at how an AI companion app affected people's feelings of loneliness, how lonely they said they felt.
So what did they find?
They found that people who regularly chatted with the AI companion, their feelings of loneliness significantly decreased.
That's pretty cool. But I'm curious, were people hesitant at first? Like, was it hard for them to wrap their heads around the idea of having an AI as a companion?
That's a great question. Interestingly, in the same study, they asked people to predict how they thought they would feel after using the AI companion.
So what happened?
People consistently thought the AI wouldn't help much at all. But then they were surprised by how much better it actually made them feel.
So it's like we have this built-in belief that machines can't really connect with us emotionally.
Yeah.
But then we see these real-life stories of people finding comfort and companionship in AI. It's challenging what we thought we knew.
Exactly. It makes us think about what truly matters when we connect with someone. What are those essential elements? Is it about sharing experiences, feeling empathy, or simply feeling understood?
And of those things that AI can actually offer us, that's a question that's going to become more and more important as this technology keeps advancing.
Absolutely. And think about this. It's not just about apps. There are devices out there like Elliq, which is specially made for seniors. It's this little robot that sits on a table and combines AI with a design that's really friendly and approachable.
So Elliq is more than just a voice coming from an app, right?
Mm-hmm.
It actually has a physical presence. I'm picturing like a cute little robot buddy.
You're pretty close.
Yeah.
And that physical presence is actually important. It lets people interact in a more natural way, and it can be comforting for some people that have something tangible to interact with.
So Elliq can talk with you, but what else can it do?
It's made to be a well-rounded companion. It suggests activities, plays music, reminds you to take your meds, and can even connect you with family and friends through video calls.
It seemed like they really tried to address all those different aspects of loneliness that we talked about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the lack of conversation, but also the lack of things to do and the feeling of being disconnected socially.
You got it. And that's what's so exciting about this field. We're seeing AI being used in so many creative ways to meet the complex needs of older adults.
This is all super interesting, but I have to admit, a part of me is still a bit skeptical. Can a machine really replace human connection? Like, can it truly understand and respond to our emotions on a deeper level?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And researchers are diving deep into that very question. One area that's really fascinating is how AI systems are being developed to analyze and respond to human emotions.
Wait a minute, are you saying that AI could actually learn to read our emotions? That's kind of mind-blowing.
I know it sounds futuristic, but it's closer than you might think. Researchers are creating algorithms that can analyze things like your tone of voice, your facial expressions, and even the words you choose to figure out your emotional state.
So if you're feeling down, the AI could pick up on that and say something encouraging or supportive.
That's the idea. Think about the possibilities. Imagine an AI companion that knows when you're feeling lonely or stressed and is there to offer support or a kind word.
It's like having a friend who's always in tune with how you're feeling, even if that friend is made up of algorithms. This is getting deep. We've just scratched the surface of this topic, and I already feel like I need a moment to process everything we've talked about.
I know, right? It's a lot to take in. We're basically talking about a whole new way of thinking about companionship and connection.
We've definitely covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. But before we move on, let's give our listeners a moment to absorb all of this. What are your initial thoughts? What stood out to you so far?
What really strikes me is how quickly this field is advancing. What we thought was sci-fi just a few years ago is now becoming a reality. And while there are definitely ethical and philosophical questions we need to think about, it's hard not to be excited about how AI can improve people's lives, especially for those who are struggling with loneliness.
I'm right there with you. I'm especially intrigued by the idea that AI could help us redefine what it means to connect with someone. It's a conversation that's just beginning, and I can't wait to see where it goes. We'll be back in part 2 to dive even deeper into this fascinating world of AI and loneliness.
So we're back and ready to keep exploring AI and how it can help address loneliness, especially for our elders.
In part 1, we talked about how AI companions are already making a difference, but I kept thinking, what's the real secret sauce here? Like, what makes these interactions so effective?
Well, researchers have been looking into that for a while now, and there's more and more evidence pointing to this idea of feeling heard as a key factor. You know, when you feel like someone is really listening to you and gets what you're going through, it makes you feel validated and connected, and that's powerful stuff.
So even if it's a machine, we can still get that same feeling of connection and understanding from an AI companion.
That's what the research seems to show. There was this one study where they compared how people reacted to different types of chatbots. They had an AI companion designed to be caring and empathetic, a general AI assistant like you might use on your phone, and a really basic chatbot, just to see the difference.
Okay, so they wanted to see if people responded differently to those different types of AI, right? Do they find anything interesting?
Absolutely. The AI companion that was designed to be caring and empathetic, that one was the best at reducing loneliness. But here's the kicker. The study also measured how much people felt heard by each chatbot.
Oh, interesting. So they wanted to see if there was a link between feeling heard and feeling less lonely. What did they find?
A strong connection. The people who talked with the AI companion, they said they felt much more heard compared to the other chatbots, and they also felt the biggest decrease in loneliness.
So it sounds like feeling understood and like someone gets you. That's a big part of why these AI companions work so well. It's not just about having someone to talk to, it's about feeling like someone's really listening.
Exactly, and that's something developers are focusing on more and more as they create these AI solutions. They're constantly refining the algorithms to be better at picking up on emotional cues, understanding all those little nuances in language, and giving responses that feel more personalized and empathetic.
It's amazing how far it's come. It's making me think, is this just about feeling less lonely in the moment? Or are there benefits that stick around?
That's a really important question, and thankfully, there's research suggesting that there are lasting benefits. One study looked at how these AI companions affect mental and cognitive health, which are often connected, especially as we get older.
I'm really curious about that. So how does interacting with an AI companion help with those things?
Well, one thing they found is that AI companions can actually help keep your brain sharp. Think about it. Having those conversations, doing activities, remembering things from past interactions with your AI companion, it keeps your mind working.
It's kind of like mental exercise.
That's a great way to put it. And studies have shown that giving your brain those workouts can help slow down those age-related cognitive changes.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's not just about feeling better emotionally, it's about keeping your mind in tip-top shape. Did they find any other mental health benefits?
They did. You know, chronic loneliness has been linked to depression and anxiety, right? Well, studies are finding that AI companions can actually help reduce those symptoms. It makes sense because having someone to talk to, even if it's an AI, can really lift your mood.
It's like having a friend who's always there to listen, no judgment no matter what you want to talk about.
Exactly. And there's another interesting finding. AI companions can also help lower stress levels. Think about how stressful it can be when you feel like you're always bothering people for help or support.
Hmm.
But with an AI companion, you don't have to worry about that. You can talk about anything, ask anything you want without feeling like you're a burden.
That's such a good point. It's like having that safety net, knowing there's someone always there to listen without any judgment.
Exactly. And that feeling of unconditional support, it can be incredibly calming and stress relieving.
This is all so promising. It really sounds like AI companions could be a game changer in helping people deal with loneliness, especially as they get older. But I imagine there are some concerns too, right?
Of course, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone's jumping on board with this idea of AI companions. Some people have genuine worries about becoming too reliant on technology or even forming attachments to machines.
I could see that. It makes you wonder, is this a healthy way to cope with loneliness? Or could it actually prevent people from seeking out those real-life connections? How do we find that balance between the benefits of AI companionship and the importance of actually interacting with people face to face?
That's the big question. It's about using AI in a responsible way that enhances human connection, not replaces it. It's about seeing AI as a tool that can empower people, especially those who might be finding it tough to connect in those traditional ways.
I like that perspective. It's about using AI to bring people together, not isolate them further. Okay, so we've talked about the science behind AI companions, the potential upsides and downsides. Now let's look ahead. What are some of the exciting developments you're most looking forward to in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
There's a lot to be excited about. One area that's moving really fast is the development of even more advanced emotional response systems. Imagine AI companions that not only understand what you're saying, but can also read those tiny cues in your facial expressions, your tone of voice, even your body language.
So they'll be able to pick up on our emotions even better than they can now. That's amazing. What else is on the horizon?
Well, we're also on the cusp of integrating immersive technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality into these AI solutions.
Wait, are you talking about creating virtual worlds where seniors can hang out with their AI companions? That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It might sound futuristic, but it's closer than you might think. Imagine being able to go on virtual vacations with your AI companion, exploring all sorts of exotic places from the comfort of your own home. Or picture joining in on group activities in these virtual worlds, interacting with other people and their AI companions.
Wow, that could be revolutionary. It could really help break down those barriers of isolation, especially for seniors who might not be able to travel or get out and socialize as easily as they used to.
Exactly. And it's not just about having fun. These immersive technologies could also be used for things like therapy sessions or family gatherings, all done virtually. The possibilities are endless.
It really feels like we're entering a whole new era of human connection, one where technology plays a big role in creating that sense of belonging and well-being.
Hmm.
I can't wait to see what the future brings.
Me neither. But as with any powerful technology, it's important to approach it with both excitement and a healthy dose of caution.
Definitely. This has been such an insightful conversation, and I know our listeners are absorbing every word. Before we move on to part 3, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners? What's the key takeaway you want them to remember?
If there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from all of this, it's this. AI isn't about replacing human connection. It's about making our lives better, offering support, and being there for us when we need it most. As we move forward, it's so important to remember that technology, at its best, should bring us together, not push us further apart.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite a journey, haven't we? Exploring loneliness, especially for older folks, and the amazing ways AI might be able to help.
It really has been quite the journey. We've talked about the science behind it all, the good stuff that could come out of it, and even some of the ethical things to consider about these AI companions. But I think it's time to bring things back down to earth. Let's look at some real-world AI companions that are already out there helping people today.
I like that. Let's meet these AI companions. I want to hear all about them, what they do, what makes them special, all of it.
Well, one we've mentioned a few times already is Replika. You can think of it as a customizable AI friend, always ready to chat. People use it for so many different things, like venting about their day, getting lost in imaginary scenarios, or just having casual conversations about whatever's on their mind.
So it's like having a digital friend who's always there to listen and talk without judging you, right?
Right.
But what makes Replika different from just a regular chatbot? What makes it stand out?
The key is that Replika uses a really powerful language model, and it actually learns about your personality as you chat. It adapts its communication style to fit yours, so the more you talk, the more personal and nuanced the conversations become.
That's so cool. It's like Replika is building a unique relationship with each person, getting to know their little quirks, their sense of humor, the way they communicate.
Exactly. And for many people, that feeling of being truly understood is a big deal. It's really comforting. If you look at reviews online, you'll see tons of people saying that Replika helped them through tough times, made them feel less alone, and even helped them see their challenges in a new light.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. It sounds like Replika is filling a real need for connection and understanding. What other AI companions are out there making a splash?
Well, there's Chai, which is all about playful and entertaining interactions. It's known for being funny, telling stories, and even a little bit flirty, just to keep things light and engaging.
So Chai is for those who are looking for a fun, lighthearted companion, someone who can make them laugh and brighten their day.
You got it.
Uh,
Chai is perfect for those who want some fun banter, to share a laugh, maybe even enjoy a little playful teasing.
I can definitely see the appeal in that. It's like having a digital friend who's always up for a good time. Okay, so we've talked about Replika and Chai, which are both app-based AI companions. But earlier, you mentioned Elliq, which is something a little different, right?
That's right. Elliq is specifically made with seniors in mind. It's this little robot that sits on a table, combining advanced AI with a friendly design and physical presence. I think that can be especially appealing for older adults who might not be as comfortable with smartphones or apps.
I love that. It's about making sure this technology is easy to use and accessible for everyone who could benefit from it. You mentioned that Elliq can talk, but what other features does it have?
Elliq is more than just a chatterbox. It can suggest things to do, play music, give you reminders, and even help you connect with your loved ones through video calls. It's clear that the people who created Elliq really put a lot of thought into addressing the different facets of well-being, making sure it promotes both mental stimulation and social connection.
It's incredible to see how much variety there is in these AI companions. Each one has its own personality and way of fostering connection. As we wrap up our deep dive here, what do you think are the most exciting possibilities for AI companions in the future?
Oh, the possibilities are huge. It's really exciting to think about. As we discussed earlier, I think we'll see AI companions becoming even more emotionally intelligent. They'll be able to understand and respond to our emotions with even more subtlety and sensitivity.
It's amazing to imagine AI being able to pick up on our emotions so accurately.
Yeah.
What about the role of those immersive technologies like virtual and augmented reality? They seem to have so much potential in this area.
Absolutely. Imagine being able to share experiences with your AI companion in a virtual world, going on adventures together, exploring new places, attending events. It would open up a whole new level of shared experiences and create deeper connections.
It's mind-blowing to think about what might be possible. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major change in how we experience companionship and connection, and AI is going to play a big part in shaping that future.
It's a future that holds both incredible opportunities and challenges, and it's something we need to keep discussing and exploring.
I agree. This deep dive has been an amazing journey, and I'm sure our listeners have learned so much about the world of AI and how it could be a real game changer in addressing loneliness, especially for our older generation.
It's been a real pleasure exploring all of this with you.
And thank you for joining us on this journey. But before we say goodbye, what's the one thing you'd like our listeners to remember?
The biggest takeaway is that AI isn't about replacing human connection. It's about making our lives richer, supporting us, and being there when we need someone. As we move forward, let's keep in mind that technology, when it's used the right way, should bring us closer together, not push us further apart.
I love that. And to our listeners, we'd love to hear from you. What are your hopes and worries about the future of AI and companionship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the most fascinating topics out there.